Hey, Sandra.
Oh, good afternoon,
Hey, Amy.
Dr. Schultz. Hi, Amy.
How are you guys?
Good.
Trying to, I don't know, I'm trying to build up my enthusiasm. It took a hit.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So, and Amy, how was your thing yesterday?
It was really good. It was very, very successful.
Good.
Ed
I
was
wanted
there.
to-
He came by and he has a garden too. Well, actually, you've got several gardens, Ed, I think, but and Supervisor McDonough stopped by. So it was great. We had the conservationist, two little boys, and then a member of the conservation boys, two little girls selling lemonade, and they had fun and they
Oh,
chalked all over my driveway, which is so much fun because I haven't had that happen in a long time because my kids aren't little anymore. So it was great. And they
Oh,
played
good.
with my three dogs and tired them out. So it was win-win because the kids got tired, the dogs got tired, and it was a quiet afternoon and evening, I think, for 3 families. So
Nice, nice. Well, I'm glad it turned out, and it's a good thing to be doing. Making some habitat for the butterflies.
yeah, I found 2 more monarch caterpillars today on my butterfly weeds. So
Oh, that's very
up to
cool.
3 now.
Cool. I see we have a quorum, so I can call the meeting to order. Let's see, is everybody on? Let's see. Okay, so first we'll do roll call. Adam Hoffman. Sandra Larson here. Hendrik Schultz.
Here.
Jess Smith.
Here.
And Amy Crow-Sunleaf.
Here.
Okay, so we have 4 members here. I haven't heard from Adam, so I'm not sure if he planned on coming or not. But we'll get started. At this time, anyone may address the board on matters of which are on the agenda. Please raise your hand on Zoom, state your name and home address. Individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. I don't see anyone wishing to speak, so we can go on to approval of the agenda. I think we have one addition to the agenda, and that is Samantha is just going to make an announcement about the level of transmissibility in our county. So we would like to add that right after the action items, and it would be, an update from the health department, COVID update. So I'll make that motion myself. Is there a
And I'll
second?
second that.
Is there any discussion? Let's have a vote. All those in favor of amending the agenda and approving it with that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, then the agenda is approved with the 1 amendment. Our action item today is a Dubuque County Health Department Executive Director position. So as the board members know, we did a search for an executive director. We had several applicants, and we had one stellar applicant who we offered the job to. And after having about a week to think about it, our number 1 choice turned the job down not because of anything about the job or the county or anything, but she and her husband just weren't on the same page about retirement and moving. And she just couldn't get it over the finish line. I did reach out to her myself, and I think Ed did too, but she responded to me via email. Really nice letter, very thoughtful. But she said that she and her husband just weren't on the same page about this, and she didn't anticipate any change in the near future. So we are now, we need to continue our search. And the first thing I want to say is that thank goodness we went with GovHR, because they did guarantee their work. And the next search, there won't be any charge if we use them. There won't be any charge for their services. We'll still have to pay, out-of-pocket expenses. For instance, there are ads that get posted and that type of thing, and there's some fees for those. And then if we get to the point where we bring people into town, again, we'll have those kinds of expenses. So one suggestion that Miss Berry has is that maybe we would, unlike last time where we cut applications off at 3 weeks or 4 weeks, she suggested we would just keep applications open until the job position is filled. But that was really about the only, she said there's nothing that the county could do that she noticed, nothing that the health department could do, that it just was a matter of circumstances in this particular search. So now let everybody else talk. Tell me what you think.
So we could open it back up, right? And take applications and do interviews just as applications roll in instead of kind of waiting for them to all be collected. Is that the thought?
Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure, Jess, but I think she would have kind of a tentative date where we would start interviewing. But if applications kept coming in, we could still review them if we wanted to. So I think that's probably a good idea to keep it open.
So with the two other finalists that we interviewed, I'm just asking the question, is there any interest in offering them the position as a second line, or is the feeling more that we should do a new search on the director position?
Well, Miss Berry's thought was she didn't think, she thought we needed to do a new search.
Okay.
She didn't think the other two, as you know, candidate number 2 didn't interview very well when that candidate was in town. And candidate number 3, I think I have the numbers right, candidate number 3 just doesn't have the proper experience. And so that was Miss Berry's thought. Now,
Okay.
you guys, if you guys have other thoughts, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to get a sense, because remember, I was not there during the interview process, how you felt about it. I would have the same notion, but I wanted to hear first what everybody else was thinking.
Okay. Does anyone, go ahead, Jess.
I think, Hendrik, we agreed that we would offer to the candidate number 1, and then if that offer was not accepted, we would regroup because we didn't feel confident in either of the other.
No, I think we're on the same page, is my sense. Yeah. Okay.
Any thoughts about that, Amy?
No, I think that if that's what Maureen is recommending, she's very knowledgeable, and so I trust her recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is it kind of the consensus of the group here that we would just go ahead and get started again with, or continue on with GovHR?
I think, what are the alternatives?
Well, the only other alternative I can think of, and it's a very radical alternative that is probably going to make some eyes roll and steam come out of ears, but would be to totally reimagine the health department, including the city health department, and talking about combining those into one. So we'd have to be talking with city officials, of course, county supervisors, and it would be a very major change. But Dubuque is about the only, if not the only city in the state that still has its own health department. Everybody else pretty much merged health departments, county and city, back in like 2009 or 2010.
That would be a big piece to swallow and to chew. I would agree with you. That's, besides all the ramifications in terms of thinking about a fusion, I think it's also operational, a really big lift. And I don't know how long it's going to take. And again, I'm just sharing my thoughts here. I think I'd rather try to get the department in the county set up and stable and operational, and then have the discussion about what you just proposed, Amy, at a later point of time, because that's what we need. We need a county department that's functioning right now. But that's my thoughts on it. That's my thoughts on it. I totally understand what the thinking process is. Don't get me wrong on this, but I also think, you know, we have to start working again on public health issues in the county in the near foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think we could, I definitely think we need to get our health department in order.
Yeah.
But I think we could start exploring to see if there's any support within the county or within the city about merging the two departments. But I mean, I think it's a great idea, Amy. I just think the timing might be a little premature, but I think we could do them both at the same time, almost as like part of our strategic planning.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. Since we have this whole strategic plan we want to do, maybe that would be part of the focus. And again, I'm just totally thinking outside of the box because this is a really radical idea, but we're in a very strange time with no health director in the county. It would probably be easier if it was the city looking for a health director because it's, you know, just one city, but we are the county. Right. So I understand what you're saying, but I did just want to put that out there to
well,
as a
asking never hurts and exploring never hurts. I think that's a good idea, Amy. Absolutely.
And I think we can discuss a little bit about some ideas about what we can do in the interim while we don't have a director, because our current staff definitely needs support. They want support. And I know we want to give it to them. So, but going back to next step, I suppose another alternative is we do it on our own, but let me just eliminate that right now because there's no way we could do it, especially because HR is a little lean in Dubuque County right now. I did get to meet, Ed introduced me to a gentleman who is sort of a consultant or an HR consultant for the county right now, Ed, is that right? And his name, I don't have it right in front of me, but
Gary McAndrews.
Gary McAndrews. And I invited him to be here today, but he probably couldn't on short notice, but it'll be helpful at least to have somebody on board like that to help us. So anyway, we could go with a different company. Recruiting company. We could do it on our own, or we could stick with GovHR. One thing I know I want GovHR to, and Maureen said she did it, but I really want her to contact all of the public health schools in the Tri-County area, you know, this next time. So that's one suggestion I had. So she said she did contact Iowa, but we had no applicants from Iowa, I don't think.
There might have been that didn't make it into the final round, but made it into the assistant, like that got shuttled over to the assistant director. There might have been a couple.
Might have been, yeah.
I mean, I would be in favor. I think we should stick with GovHR. We've already invested in them. I feel like I was pretty happy with the process and how, you know, how that worked.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job. And there's always, you know, we're in a fluid time, so people are always changing positions and looking for positions. So it's not to say that we won't have success again. I think we should kind of keep it as an open application where we can interview people as if someone comes in and they seem, you know, credible and worth interviewing, we could interview them and still continue to take applications, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would somebody like to put that in the form of a motion?
Sure, I can. I would motion that we continue our search for a director with GovHR. The only modification would be that we leave the application process open until the position is filled.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Amy.
No,
No?
I
Okay.
vote aye.
Okay.
If you're taking
All
a
right.
vote, yeah.
Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Those opposed? The motion passes. So I will contact Maureen after this meeting and get her started in getting the job posted again. So then that leaves us with what are we going to do in the meantime? And there have been a couple of ideas. Samantha has looked at her school schedule and knows how busy she's going to be. And she has offered to work on an hourly basis as a consultant, basically. But Samantha, you can jump on anytime, but she had some ideas, like maybe she could still help with the after action report that is coming up. She could certainly be a resource for our current staff. Now, I'm not sure that that's doable within the county or anything like that, but that was one idea. We've had contact with both Stacy, and hi, Stacy, I'm glad you're here with us today. Stacy from VNA and Mary Rose Corrigan from the city. Both of them are very willing to help in any way they can, and any way we come up with. I asked Samantha, she and the group, or the other staff at the health department, have had a meeting, and they've talked about what to do once Samantha is gone. And they're going to really formalize kind of a calling system. If there's a question, there will be someone for Laura to reach out to and ask these public health questions to, and just have it sort of as a formalized plan. Those are the ideas that I've heard so far. If anyone else has ideas about what to do going forward, please speak up.
Ed, do you know, is it possible for us to work with Samantha in that capacity from I don't know, like a logistical perspective, to pay her hourly?
Ed?
My name sounds like a cough sometimes, so I wasn't sure she actually said my name. So that would potentially be not a county employee. That may be a contract for some services. There's probably an arrangement if that's what the board wanted to do, but it would probably be a contract arrangement. And I probably not Samantha continuing as an employee of the county.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what we're looking for is similar to what a locum solution in healthcare is, where you have somebody who fills the gap in some capacity until the position is filled. And ideally, I would say it would be a consistent solution where you have one person that is qualified to be there instead of having like weekly turnover, or for different parts, different people. But I don't know if this is even feasible in public health. I would be surprised. But I mean, there are nowadays also in healthcare, there are phone a friend options or tele options where you can sort of have these contractual agreements that you add and you just refer to, where you say you outsource that function for somebody who's available for these questions until we have the position filled with a real person.
Sandra, if I might, as your liaison supervisor, sitting here with my hand raised for 18 minutes.
Sure.
What I would like to just guide the board and say, Stacy is here with us. The VNA does perform this function for Clayton County. And I think what we might want to do is see if there's a way to formalize a relationship with the VNA. So we are purchasing that service from someone whom the burden is going to fall on regardless. If we have an outbreak of COVID, just as we've moved to high level last week, ongoing, it's going to fall to public health, the city, the VNA, Dr. Schultz, to you, to Jess. All of you are going to be picking up these pieces regardless. We're not going to stop COVID because Samantha's leaving. So is there a way for us to formalize that relationship on an interim or a short-term basis? How can we not purchase those services locally determining what we need the director to do. So re-examining that job description on kind of an emergency basis while you also pursue your search. But I don't know why we wouldn't be able to do that if they're fulfilling that obligation for other counties. And the same with the city, they're doing that inside the city of Dubuque. Is there capacity to do that? Certainly they're going to be compensated as they should be, but you know, public health is going to march forward regardless of what condition the county is in.
Stacy, there's kind of a question about what the VNA, how the VNA acts as the health department for Clayton County. And is there any way that you could do that for us on a short-term basis?
I think I agree with Ann. I think a lot of it, the burden of not having someone in the health department will come to the VNA. And so having some agreements and looking at it up front would certainly be helpful to us. I think that's something we could easily achieve. It works very well in Clayton County, while a lot more rural up there and smaller. It certainly works well. And we have that experience of working in partnership with the environmental health. We don't actually contract the environmental health piece, but we work alongside them. Everything else is subcontracted through our agency. So we answer all the public health questions. We provide the leadership and guidance, the advocacy, along with the boots on the ground work. So we certainly would be more than willing to work with this board in terms of getting something set up here in Dubuque similar for a short-term process, certainly.
Great. That's good news. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think that sounds like a really good idea. And I thank you for bringing that up, Supervisor McDonough. What would be the next steps in arranging that? Is that up to the county? Like if we vote on it and say we want to formalize a relationship with the VNA to be our interim director, I guess.
What Sandra, could Samantha in her remaining time and yourself, and I'm happy to assist, as I'm sure Ed would as well, to try to bring this together in some kind of a contract form. I mean, one thing we know is that the VNA has already done this with Clayton County. So let's see what good ideas they had. What does that paperwork look like? Start to put that together at the same time that you reach out to Maureen at hr.gov and you begin to move that. If we like the position with Stacy and the VNA on a short term, maybe you want to hold your search for 60 days to see if there's new applicants after children go back to school. Maybe there's going to be a different pool. You can ask your expert if that matters at all. But I think it would be very helpful to the Board of Health if we could get, take a breath and let's see if we can bring somebody in with the expertise. And I think we could start even with the Clayton County contract just to see how that fits. That's lots of times what county government does is just swap docs, look and see what'd you do over here. And Stacy, maybe you have something you could even kind of propose.
Absolutely. I can definitely work with Sam on that too and come up with some propositions and how we kind of model it up there and make something work here.
So just that I understood that model correctly, you're thinking about having Stacy and the VNA team filling that role and Samantha being in a consultant role on an hourly or PRN basis in that model, or would it be just Stacy and her team? I just want to make sure I understood this correctly.
I think the concept was Stacy and her team.
Okay.
And that way, that was my thought, that we can take a step. We're going to take a step forward. It's going to look different than what we thought it might be, but that allows us to continue to move forward with the partners we have here. And it also is going to give us potentially some feedback about staff. Stacy's working with our current staff anyway, with the programming. So I think it kind of puts us in a good position while we reestablish ourselves with our search.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I know at our last meeting, we discussed possibly using some contract services to help Bailey with some of the water testing. I'm wondering if that might be, a topic that we kind of keep on the front burner as well, so that maybe sorry, I said Stacy Bailey, but maybe we could free her up for just a little bit more capacity to help with Stan leaving and our transition to Stacy in the interim. Just a
You know,
thought.
And Jess, the VNA, as they move into more of a director position, again, short term, they may have a feeling about how it's working. And, you know, sometimes when you get somebody that's more regularly in the office, you can see, we can start a waiting list on the water sampling. And I don't have an easy answer for how we'll do more sampling, but we could start looking down that road too.
Samantha did tell me that Laura will be certified within a short period of time. So she even has the test. I think the test has come already. And so she'll be certified. That will help somewhat with the water testing. But I do think, Jess, I agree that the staff increase for the environmental piece, we should continue to look at that and talk about it and possibly take action in the future.
Yep.
Because they're asking for help. I mean, the department is asking for help in that area, it seems like, so. All
Sandra,
right,
am I allowed to add to that at all?
Yes, go ahead, Samantha.
Okay, hi, Jess, this is Samantha. My thought with that is, over the past, 6 months-ish, we've kind of changed up everything about that environmental specialist position. And this being the first year we've completed that grant program, I really don't think that now is the time to subcontract that work out. We really are getting it done. What I think in the future, like Sandra had just mentioned, is maybe adding a staff member to do that. But I don't think contracting it out would be in our best interest right now, being that that is kind of like the sole purpose of this office over here. And we are doing that work and getting it done.
It's kind of like we have staff to do that. So maybe we should continue to do it.
Yeah.
Until we get staff that can do something else. So that's just a thought. I mean, we are able to, we have the people trained and they're doing a good job at it. So I kind of agree not contracting that out just yet.
Yeah, and I think that the Visiting Nurse Association already takes care of so much of our public health work and that side of things. So it makes a lot of sense for them to continue doing that, or even do a little more in the interim like you were talking before. But I think that our staff, at least when I talked to them in our meeting last week, feels confident about where we are with the environmental piece right now.
Okay. So does someone want to make a motion about at least opening up a discussion with VNA about coverage as that they would cover as a director on a temporary basis?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we do some research into the Clayton County contract for services with the VNA and look into forming a contract of our own with between the health department and the VNA as far as public health direction goes. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Let me ask one question for Samantha. Is that something that is imaginable for you as a health department? Are you guys okay with that? Is everybody supportive of that approach as a temporary approach? Would you foresee any barriers?
Schultz, do you mean for Stacy's department or for this department here?
Well, when you work together and the VNA would fill in as an interim department with a director function, like we discussed.
Yeah, I think that could definitely work. Like I said
Okay.
before, Stacy and the VNA already help us with so much stuff and subcontract so much of our work that I don't think it would be a difficult transition for
Perfect.
us
No,
on
that's
our end, as long as it's good with
great.
Stacy and them too.
Yep. No, I just wanted to get a feel for that. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of working with the VNA, looking at the Clayton County contract that they have with VNA and potentially obtaining a contract with the VNA to be our interim director on a short-term basis, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Okay. All right, so Samantha and Stacy, you'll start working on that, and then I'll be in touch with you tomorrow and see where we can go, okay? Does anyone else want to be on that committee?
Oh, I can
Amy?
help. I can help out.
Okay.
with that.
Thank you, Amy.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else to discuss under action items? We've kind of given an update on what we're going to do for the executive director search and also our interim plans as they exist right now. Anything else? Supervisor McDonough, do you have anything for us?
Oh, just thank you for all you're doing. I think we'll be fine moving forward when we find out with the VNA. Let's just get an opportunity to take a breath for a moment. Lots of things have been changing fairly rapidly.
True. And I don't think you were on yet when I've made a comment that I've been working at trying to build my enthusiasm again, because it really took a blow with that answer. But I think that will be good. We know that we have some time to work on this, and that helps, I think. So.
And maybe we would, and maybe we should introduce Maureen to Greater Dubuque Development as well. And when we get to bringing candidates, let's bring spouses and have Greater Dubuque drive them around and treat them like the VIPs that they are. So we can, there's a whole suite there with Greater Dubuque Development. I know Dr. Schultz, you use it. You recruited my kids with it. So, let's bring the spouse with us next time.
I'll second that.
Yep. It's always family business.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. Okay. Then we have our next item on the agenda is a COVID update, Samantha.
Yeah, it was just going to be really brief. We haven't met since Dubuque County moved up to a community level of high. That happened on Thursday. So with that, the CDC recommends that everyone wear masks in indoor spaces, stay up to date with their vaccines, their COVID vaccines, and then also get tested when you have symptoms for COVID or if you are exposed and unvaccinated. And so my thought with that was maybe encouraging the Board of Health or other boards, like the boards of supervisors or some of our other county departments, to consider going back to Zoom virtual meetings in the meantime while we're at this community level. I just wanted to share that recommendation, my personal recommendation to the Board of Health, but that was really all. And just to let everybody know that that did move up to high.
Yeah.
Are the hospitals still doing okay, Dr. Schultz? No?
Yep. From what I see, actually, the numbers over the last 5 days actually went down on the area that I could oversee. So I think we're going to see some more uptick, and that's usually the fluctuation of social gatherings in the summertime, which are good to have again. As long as we don't have a massive uptick in the hospital, getting people in that are sicker and that need to go to the unit, I think we can watch and wait. I would not call in the cavalry yet or be overly nervous. I think we just continue to monitor for now and do what we're doing.
And can we get an update on where the testing centers still are and if the testing is free? Sam?
Yeah, we do have a full list of the testing sites on our county website.
Okay.
I don't have that up in front of me right now, so I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, but I do know that our office and the Visiting Nurse Association have the PCR at-home tests. And I believe Crescent Community Health Center has some rapid tests available for people needing to return to work or travel. Hy-Vee is still doing testing. Hardig's and Walgreens are still selling tests. So those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head, but the full list is constantly updated as it needs to be on the county and the city website.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be August 17th at 4:30 p.m. And Should that be a Zoom meeting if we're still at high?
I
Okay,
would support that. Yeah.
okay. Well, that will be a Zoom meeting if we're at high transmission level. And, okay. At this time, anyone may address the board on matters of which are of concern to that person and which are not agenda items. Please raise your hand on Zoom, state your name and home address. Please be aware that the board is limited in their ability to respond to such inquiries, and Iowa code prohibits the board from deliberating or acting on items not appearing on the agenda. Individual remarks are limited to 3 minutes. I don't see any hands. In that case, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll
I
second.
second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
See you
Thanks,
on
guys.
the 17th.
Yep,
See ya.
bye-bye.
Bye.